Hi everyone, this is Dan, and this is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, part two of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. This is Battle Tendency. So, heads up, JoJo is a little weird in that it has arcs. So the last arc was Phantom Blood. This is Battle Tendency, which is, or actually parts, I should say. But each part is comprised of chapters, and in this case, volumes. Right? This is volume one of the printed manga. So I didn't really go over the ending of Phantom Blood. Phantom Blood is a little bit vanilla in its story. So Jonathan Joestar, eventually he has to actually face Dio again after the previous series that I showed you, and he defeats him until Dio ambushes him and he gets married, by the way, to Arena, and kills him on a boat, takes over his body, yada yada yada. That's the end of Phantom Blood. Anyhow, it's okay, and there's some good parts left in it at the end, particularly with Mr. Zappelli-san, as he's called in the anime. But I wanted to jump to Battle Tendency because JoJo really gets a lot better as you go into Battle Tendency. Gets very good in Stardust Crusaders, and it gets really good in Diamond is Unbreakable. But for now, let's jump into Battle Tendency. So we're going here. We've gone forward in time significantly. This is Ario Speedwagon. He's a lot older now. He's now an oil magnate in America. So he's on a trip to Mexico, and he brings this character. This is Strizo, as they call him in the manga, the anime, or I should say the English adaptation of the anime. But his actual name is Straits, because he had a buddy or a team, and his name was Dyer. And so the two of them together was Dire Straits. Freaking Araki and his freaking music references. So they go to Mexico, and if you remember the opening to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Phantom Blood, is it actually starts in Mexico, which is where the origins of the Stone Mask are. So here you get like a little prologue, 4-page prologue showing them in Mexico and him showing the discovery of the Stone Mask. It's 1938. So this is right before World War II. Here's this character right here getting a Coco Coal in New York, Japan, in their evasion of copyright issues. So a black kid steals the man's wallet, runs over. He gets picked out by some cops, and these cops are not very good cops. So they start beating the living crap out of him. And it's kind of shown very quickly that they're bad cops. They're very corrupt and also extremely racist. So one thing you have to realize about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is Hirohiko Araki wrote this in Battle Tendency was originally written and released in the late 80s, early 90s. So this was still a problem prevalent in the world. It is very interesting, or I should say in America, it is very interesting to see Hirohiko Araki include this in his manga, though, because it's not really it's very rare to see the Japanese make a lot of political commentary like this on America, though this is kind of true for the time. So the other guy who got his wallet stolen ends up approaching the cops. You get some kind of dirty, typical manga bad guy taunts the good guy and gets him, kind of prods and prods, and you see, wow, this guy can take a lot of crap until you realize, no, he can't. Pretty good. Oh, by the way, so very interesting in Battle Tendency, this character, who I'll introduce in a little bit, is British, even though he's living in America. So he beats the living crap out of this cop and his buddy. Actually uses some power to launch the bottle of the Coca-Cola at the officer, smashing his finger. Then he chugs the Coca-Cola and goes for a run, with the black kid joining him. And here's the introduction of the protagonist. This is Joseph Joestar. He's the grandson of Jonathan Joestar, the protagonist from the first part, Phantom Blood. So he is, and I'll get right into it very quickly. We go back to Mexico, by the way, and we get this is an interesting chapter because Speedwagon is explaining Dio and the vampires and the stone masks, and Dyer asks for him a story about Joseph Joestar, which he's sort of like, why are you asking about my best friend's grandson? and he goes to a story about an airplane that was getting hijacked with Joseph on it, and the guys are basically trying to kidnap Ario Speedwagon. And very interesting. Check this out. He has a freaking Superman reference in the comics. It's pretty hilarious. By the way, I don't think this is correct because DC didn't exist in the 30s. I think they were called National Comics back then. But hilarious to see a Superman comic in a manga. So Joseph's kind of like, hey, I'm busy reading my comic, leave me alone. And then the hijackers get kind of pissed, and Joseph goes kind of crazy, causes the pilot to pass out, and they end up crashing the plane and jumping out and escaping while the other guys die. Really crazy, but it kind of shows a little bit of information about Joseph. Joseph is not really like Jonathan. He's kind of crazy and very like devious, more of a trickster type of person. He's not really a true hero in the classic sense like Jonathan was. Straiso kills everybody, also kills Speedwagon. You get that crazy plot twist right there. In the second issue, so this covers basically 3 weeks of the Shonen Jump, you get some more buildup of who Joseph is. This guy's about ready to run him over in New York, and he starts honking his horn. Joseph proceeds to beat the crap out of him and get him as a taxi till Arena stops him. And he goes over, and this is pretty funny. So Joseph's pretty crude. He starts suggesting that Speedwagon and Arena are into each other, and Arena beats the crap out of him for suggesting that. They go to a restaurant, and when they go to a restaurant, one of the guys there, who's again another racist guy, takes exception to Speedy or Smokey, the black the black kid that tried to steal Joseph's wallet earlier, and he wants him kicked out of the restaurant. But then when he throws the racist guy throws a glass of wine at him, and Joseph gets really pissed off and is like, okay, I'm not going to take this kind of crap, in front of my grandmother. And he goes out to fight him, and this is the beginning of his the battle tendencies theme, which is Joseph Joestar's uncanny ability to kind of predict what people are going to do. So he's like, hey, if you're looking for your brass knuckle, it's in your back pocket. And then, he's like screaming, and then this is the famous, your next line is. This is what Joseph was very famous for in this run, part 2, is basically predicting exactly what the character is going to say. They say it, and then they have a shocking, like, moment. It's a funny little trope that Araki uses throughout this run. And it kind of serves well to kind of play up the character, right? Joseph is not like this overpowering Hulk. He's more of a use your brain type of character. So he ends up outsmarting this guy. Yeah, it looks like he's punching, but he was actually punching this. And he ends up sending him on his way. And then this gangster shows up and basically reveals the big twist at the end, the Japanese sort of manga-style twist, and that is Speedwagon has been killed in Mexico. And you're kind of left on a cliffhanger moving into the next storyline. So, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Battle Tendencies. This was more enjoyable to read than the previous part, and that's one thing about Araki that's very interesting. Even though he's very much into just crazy shit, his storytelling gets better and better and better as it goes on. I'm actually surprised at how successful it was in the early days, because Phantom Blood was okay, and Battle Tendency was good, but not like super crazy good. But then he just keeps getting better and better as it goes on. So it's very interesting to read through the manga from Araki, because you can see just the gradual and continuous improvement. Now, how did I do? So I got extremely frustrated doing this artwork. So let me see where the page is. Yeah, here we go. This is the page, right? So this was extremely frustrating. It was frustrating for 2 ways. I really don't understand what the hell Araki's doing here. So he's got one arm out of his jacket sleeve into here, and then the jacket runs around, but then it comes underneath and over and... Wait, what? I ended up basically getting rid of it and just, showing that the sleeve flies out to the backside and just doing that, because I was so frustrated when I was trying to draw this, because he has the same roll-up in his jacket that is not over here, and I just... Araki! I couldn't take it, honestly. Honestly, I'm probably gonna keep doing this just because Araki's art is so frustrating that I'm just gonna end up just correcting it every time I see it because I can't deal with it. I did end up ignoring his shading in here because I didn't really like it, so I ended up doing more of an American style shading on the inside. And I did so he has I think Zipatone on the inside, and I just used cross hatching to try to get that effect through. I had his jacket kind of swing back around and over like so. The sleeve is assumed to go in the back. Let's see, his hand. So I didn't get a good enough bulge. So here's where I screwed up. This should be bulging out more, kind of like what Araki is showing right here. And the eyes, I did end up changing the eyes. I think they need to be a little bit thinner. His mouth looks a little stupid too, but, you know, not too bad considering it's my first time drawing Araki. So, you know, not great and a little frustrating, but I think I know what I'm going to do if I'm going to keep doing JoJo. I'm just going to do my own interpretation of it and just change what, like, the small things that I just don't really like to do. And I think it'll be fine. Anyhow, that's it. That's the review. Let me know what you think. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. If you have any comments on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Battle Tendencies or this art piece, leave them down below, and I will see you next time.